Good evening, good evening, good evening. Thank you so much for joining us on tonight. We are excited about our topic on tonight. But first, I want to say to everyone who is joining us, please take a few moments to hit like, to hit share, as well as create a watch party. Once again, welcome to Empowerment Liberation Cathedral's Advent Chats. And so the last week we had a chat with Dr. Sherry Moloch. This week we're having a chat with Dr. Imani Woody. Some of you know Dr. Imani Woody from Mary's House. She is the founder. She is the brainchild of Mary's House. And so we're excited to have her join us. We know that she's also an officer with AARP. And so we want you to hear what she has to say on tonight. We'll bring them on in just a few moments. However, I want you to make sure that you are sharing this live feed. Also, make sure that you are creating a watch party because we need everybody to get this information. So many of us have senior parents, we have senior aunts, senior uncles, we have grandparents, we have senior neighbors. And so this is the discussion for you on tonight. So I need each and every one of you to make sure that you share and create a watch party. We are excited to have our special guest on tonight. And we also have Minister Kat, and we have Deacon Kim, and we have First L, who has joined us on tonight. So y'all know we are gonna have a great time and a great discussion. So we're gonna bring them onto the screen. Good evening, everyone. All right, and so Dr. Imani, you know, we were hearing a lot about persons dealing with their parents and, trying to keep their parents in and, wanted to make sure that they protect their parents as much as possible. And so I think that's the nature of daughters and sons, grandsons, granddaughters, nieces, nephews. We want to make sure that we're protecting our seniors and nothing happens to them. And so we want to hear from you. Share with us your knowledge, your wisdom on seniors and aging, and then tell us how we can deal with them in the COVID-19 pandemic. Okay, so at this moment, I can't hear you.
I forget to take that off.
Thank you.
So that's a tall order, but I thought I'd start off with talking about aging happens to each of us, right? From the time you're born till the age you are now, you are getting older. So we're all aging, even though when you're 25, you don't recognize that you are aging, right? But you change that around to 52, you recognize that you are aging. And so I just wanted to quickly go over some of the things that happens physically when you're aging, like to your cardiovascular system. It stiffens, the cardiovascular system begins to stiffen with the blood vessels and the arteries. Your heart is at rest and it will stay about the same, but it doesn't increase in activities like when you were younger and you would jog, your heart would race more quickly. Things just slow down and settle down. So one of the things you can do is to increase your physical activity, eat a healthy diet, don't smoke, manage stress, all the stuff we already know, and get enough sleep. And then it's your bones, your joints and muscles. And I can testify to this. I just had knee surgery. Those joints don't last always. You know, we played that basketball, that football, that we jogged, we wore those stiletto heels. Ooh, those things
Yes.
catch up with you, right?
Yes,
So what can you do? You can promote bone health by getting adequate amounts of calcium, get adequate amounts of vitamin D, include physical activity, there's that again, and avoid substance abuse. Your memory and your thinking skills. I don't know about you all, but they say when you start losing the estrogen, you start losing that memory because estrogen plays a large part in memory. So include, again, physical activity in your daily routine. Eat a healthy diet. Stay mentally active. Be social. Quit smoking. Your digestive system, your bladder and urinary tract. I don't know about you all, but Millie Jackson used to talk that she used to sing a song about having to get up 4 and 5 times to go to the bathroom at night. That happens because your bladder, the pelvic floor muscles get weaker, and so you go to the bathroom more. So they suggest go to the toilet regularly. Don't hold it. Maintain a healthy weight. Don't smoke. Avoid bladder irritants and avoid constipation. So that in a nutshell, we know about your weight. Eat a healthy diet. Watch your portion sizes. You know, you can eat a healthy diet, have a whole plate of green beans, but that's not what they're talking about, right? You want to have a diverse plate with portion sizes. Meat no larger than your palm.
Yes.
Right? And sexuality. Share your needs and concerns with your partner. Don't hold back. Talk, communicate, get regular exercise. Understand, for women, vaginal dryness can make sex uncomfortable. For men, impotence may become a concern. It might take longer to get an erection. Share your needs and concerns with your partner. Check out your doctor. Get regular exercise. You can't stop the aging process, but we can make choices that improve our ability to maintain an active life, and we can continue to do the things that we'd like to do. So that's us. That's all of us getting older.
It sounds like a lot happens.
A lot
there's a lot that's going on with the seniors in our families, in our communities. And some of us watch these changes up close and personally, and some of us watch them or hear about them from a distance. But whatever the case is, we have to know that if we're going to continue to live, we're all going to age. That's right. So we're all aging every day, some faster than others, some slower than others. But, you know, we can say all of these different things are happening with our seniors in our community. And so we have a couple of questions we want to pose to you, during this time. But let me ask this, when persons are aging, how is the confidence level? Because a lot of times people's confidence go down because, like you said, that knee is not working like it used to. They can no longer wear those nice stiletto heels, those nice shoes. They can no longer do some of the things that they used to do. So talk to us a moment about the confidence of the seniors, when they accept that they are getting older. Some folks ain't accepted it yet, but when they accept that they're getting older, let's talk about that.
Well, that makes me want to laugh out loud. Okay, just so you know. So my stepmother, you all remember Fanny. I have to tell this story. We were riding in the car, and Dre and I were riding. My wife and I were riding in the car, and we were talking. And I said, and I was talking about aging, which I do often. I said, these people, they were old as Fanny, and Fanny's in the back seat. Fanny said, "I don't know who you call old." She was upset, and she was 78 or something right then, right? So it's all relative. As you get closer to that, whatever mark is in your head, for AARP is 50, for the Department of Health and the Feds is 62, and for Fanny it was 79 or above, right? So
Yes.
So when we say elders, and just so you know, Bishop, a lot of old people don't like the word senior.
Uh-oh. Okay. Well,
Uh-oh.
am I supposed to call them aging? What's the proper term?
The term of art for right now is older adults.
Oh, that's right. Okay, I did learn
Older
that.
adults,
Yeah.
right? I can be an older adult at 50 or 90, right?
Yes, yes,
Yes.
yes.
So that's the term of art. We can, some people's like elders. I know, right, Diana? Some people like the word elders and they can go that way, but seniors kind of gone out of favor, even though that's what the government uses. It's, it's real hard to turn that train around. But in conversation, older adults would work. Uh, so, I understand that lots of people are having problems with their parents. The tables have turned, right? When the parents used to have problems with their children, and now as adults, grown people, they want to do what they want to do.
Yeah.
Right. And so and unless the people are deemed incompetent by the courts, folks can do what they want to do, much to our chagrin.
Might
But
need to say that again. You might need to say that again.
right, grown people can do what they want to do unless they have been committed and they have a guardian that can tell them what they want to do. So we as adult children have to tread lightly. We have to tread lightly to have those conversations. And so when you have those conversations, like you think, Pop should not be driving that Cadillac anymore. That thing needs to stay in the garage. You got to have a conversation, because when you take away Pop's Cadillac, you're taking away his mobility. You're taking away his independence. And if he was anything like my father, you're going to have a fight. So you have to have a talk before something happens that could be.
Is there a process of deciding which family member is going to talk to them about this, taking the keys away? Because like Minister Cat, she might need to be the person to talk to the mother as opposed to some of the other sisters and brothers. So is there like a certain child that is picked out to talk to the parent about these difficult things? Because my aunt, I remember them telling her she didn't need to drive. She was 92, and she told them she was driving until she felt like it. And so
she drove until they took away her license, I'm thinking.
Yes, absolutely.
That's what's happening. So there, every family is different. They suggest that in your 40s, as an adult child, you begin talking to your parents about their finances, right? You begin to have that talk about their finances, because if you're 40, they're 60 or above, right? So just begin to just talk about finances. Talk about, have you done your will? Do you have your power of attorney for health care? And you don't have these conversations during Christmas and Thanksgiving, folks. Those, right? Everybody around the table, you have these, no, it's already fraught with tension or excitement or whatever. So you pick a time. And if you have siblings, yes, everybody knows who can handle the finances, who needs to write the checks for the bills, who needs to check on mom on a daily basis, who needs to go get her Depends, who needs to do the grocery shopping, who she's going to tell her secrets to. We all know who does what. And so you together as a family figure out who does what. And then I don't know about in your family, but in some families, there's that person that does nothing, right? That's the person. So don't try to rope that person into this communique. Just understand it from the outset to save yourself some time, some hurt and time, right? So if you're going to talk to your parents about their finances, you can kind of say the purpose of this meeting is to talk about getting mom and dad the best care for their needs and wishes as they get older. That's how you approach your siblings, or something not quite that awkward. Have the conversation in person, even though we're doing COVID. So maybe we would quarantine. This is not a conversation that we want to have on Zoom where they can cut you off. Right. You don't want to. You want to prepare your
Oh, that's
questions in advance. You want to prepare your
yes.
questions in advance, and you don't want to uh, make them feel uncomfortable at the same time. Sometimes trying to deal with this electronic stuff puts more hassle and grief on a person. Then you want the person to be welcoming, maybe over lunch or something like that. Write the important points in a notebook, right? You can go on their websites that talk about a checklist to have when you're talking to your parents. Find out what your parents' needs and wishes are. Do they want to age in place? Do they want to stay in their house? I do. I'm not trying to go to a nursing home or another residential facility. As long as I can, I want to stay in my house. So what's out there? Make sure they get long-term care insurance, because Medicare, even though it's available, it's not going to take care of those long-term care needs. Like if you need somebody, you need more than clinical help. I mean, more than medical help. You need some other kind of help like therapy. So long-term care insurance is important.
Dr. Imani, I think Deacon Kim, Minister Cat wanted to ask a question kind of in that area.
Sure.
Before we move on. So
Sure.
Deacon Kim, can you ask one question, and then we'll go to Minister Cat, and then we'll come to First Step.
Okay, so Dr. Imani, gosh, you are the perfect person to ask these questions. You've already answered actually one or two of my questions, and you made me you shocked me when you told me that AARP the age is 50. I was like wondering, why am I getting this stuff in the mail from AARP? I thought,
Actually, they start at 45.
oh wow, oh my gosh, I didn't know that. I was always under the assumption it was like 65 or 70, something like that. I don't know. But yeah, it now it answers the questions of why I'm getting these things in the mail. So yeah. One of my questions is like, how do you approach your parent when you feel like it's time to get in their business, as far as like making sure their bills are paid on time and going to the doctor with them, things like that. So you kind of answered, but I do want to know, is there like some kind of resource where all these things are kind of grouped together for someone like who would like to stay in their home? Like they may need some additional care, like a nurse or someone to come, give them some medical assistance. But is there some kind of database or resource where you can go and find this information?
There are some agencies that actually do that actually will come into your home, come to you and ask you a series of questions and figure out what you'd like to have. Then they would talk to your parent and see what they like to have and kind of put that together. There's a couple of people that I use. I don't know whether to say them here or offline, Deacon Kim, but there are visiting Nurses Association, for example, does that. Right at Home is an organization that does that, that can help you put together what you need. But the first step, is to go to the parent and say, what do you want to do? What are you thinking about? You have to take their wishes into consideration, even though, we think we know what's best for them, because remember, they used to think what they knew was best for us.
I mean,
Once a man, twice a child.
That's true, because lately I've been having to run to the doctor with my mom. She had cataracts in both eyes, so now she's had that surgery. But in the meantime, in that period of time where I was just calling her, checking, she was calling me mother. So it was like the roles were starting to reverse a little bit, because I'm fine, mother, I'm fine. So
yes.
so I can see that you have to tread lightly with that.
Yeah, you do. And you know what, Deacon Kim, I'm glad you said that. Fanny used to say to people, you all have to check with my mother. And then she was talking about me. Oh, that is funny.
Yes. And I remember that when my grandmother and my father's sister, my aunt, switched roles per se. my aunt started taking care of my mother, and I mean my grandmother, and she always told her, she said, now I am still the official mother, but you acting like the mother today.
Okay.
Make those kind of statements to her. So
Right.
yeah.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, Minister Cat.
Wow, that is I'm just laughing because I can relate to a lot of things that Dr. Imani was saying. And fortunately enough that we have already been through those steps with my mom, and we got things squared away years ago. We knew that she could not be by herself. A lot of us had branched out. We had the problems with, not the problems, but we had the challenges with, with her spending and financial things and her needs and stuff like that. We were able to talk about it. My sister actually does the bulk of all those things, but my siblings and I, we were able to talk about things. And I said, well, make sure that you guys know that she's in control over making those decisions. Make sure that she feels that she's making those decisions. And how we do that, we just ask her what she needs to do. If she's unsure, just give her the choices. Make her know that she's picking those choices. So, well, mommy, if you're unsure what to do, these are the choices we have for you. So we're able to get her in a low income nursing home facility like kind of thing, like oh God, is like a nursing home facility, but it's not a nursing home, just like the low income apartments, housing complex. And actually they have home attendants and stuff like that. We had her set up. But the good thing about it is that the services in New York, a lot of people say a lot of things about New York, but I'll tell you what, they don't play when it comes to services. You get services in New York at a drop of a hat, but everywhere else you got to go and prove that you need services. So I've noticed that when my wife was dealing with services for her mom when she had her cancer, opposed to what my mom was dealing with a lot of her ailments that wasn't as severe as her mom. And she was in North Carolina, couldn't get the services that she really needed. As hospice coming to the house and different things that she had to be like really in dire need of those services. When my mom was able to get all the services she needed. So it depends on state by state.
State by state, yes.
To get those services. So you have to be really self-conscious where you want your mama to be during the time she is aging and what services are being offered for those states. But I just want to say the hardest part we had with my mother was cooking. She felt that cooking brings family together. My mother would cook even when we all started branching out, moving out of state. And we had to tell her, mommy, why are you still cooking like this? And she thought that cooking drove us home, which it did when we were kids and younger, and coming home every Sunday was dinner at home. So we had to ask her, mommy, stop cooking like that. Because she was offended when no one came home on every Sunday to eat. So we had to say, Mom, everyone is out, everyone is doing their thing. My sister's cooking, everyone is doing. So we're not cooking no more. So that wasn't adjusted. We thought a lot of things would be hard for her, but that was a major break for her. That no one is coming every Sunday to eat. When I moved out of state, it was different. So when everybody started branching out, she was like feeling that loneliness. So I think the part of feeling that loneliness and everyone is not coming like they used to did something for her. And she knew that it was time to transition from everyone needs me kind of thing. So now we encourage the grandchildren to show up every so often. And they either cook for her or she cook for them so she can feel that need. So they switch up and they come. So we thought of a routine and a shift thing to do. So she won't feel that alone part, because I think that for my mom coming from such a huge family, her being alone would just take her out of here. I think that physical body, that physical touch, that's why I worry so much with her now over this isolation time, that there's not many of us are there, because we don't want her to be sick. We don't want her to catch this virus. So it's like kind of hard,
It's very hard. Yes.
So that's the struggle for us as a family now, is the isolation piece, and to try to keep her safe in the midst of not visiting and stuff like that. And she understands, but she don't understand. You feel what I'm saying?
Right. Yes.
So,
Yes.
That part is the struggle for us.
I'm so sorry to hear that, but I'm so happy that you all are on point with it. You know what I'm saying? I was in a webinar today with the ombudsman for DC, a senior provider of residential facilities, a lawyer that does this stuff. But if they were all on this call to talk about isolation in nursing homes and what's being done around the country. And so there are a couple of things that are being done, and maybe in New York they're doing them already, that they made that certain states are making it so that that the nursing homes purchase their PPE equipment includes laptops and training for the elders too, so that they can communicate. They make a schedule part of the lesson isolation. They make a schedule of which family member is going to call or which family member is going to meet outside. They've created, or they're supposed to create spaces outside that can be socially distanced so that the person can be that the family member can see the other family member. So they lots of states are working on that. In this current wave, they've gone kind of back so that you can't really go in and physically see. But you've seen pictures of people looking in the windows. So some nursing homes have created a room that is toward the parking lot or toward a window that you can visit your loved one through the window, that you can visit the person on FaceTime. One organization has part of the staff do a letter writing thing because they can't go out. They used to go to the store and to the movies and do all these fun things. They can't do that. But writing letters, for many people, they remember writing letters. And so they help them write letters, and they encourage the people who are getting the letters, usually family members, to return that. So that's something to look forward to. Making sure that everybody has a telephone. I didn't realize that being in a nursing home doesn't mean you get a telephone. You have to pay for a telephone, right? You have to pay for that. So there are Washington, D.C. is a city that it's part of the communication and trying to impede social isolation is that the people get a phone. But so those kinds of things that, so things are in place.
Well, I'm glad you said that, Dr. Imani, because a cousin of mine in the state of Alabama, my mother's first cousin, her sister was going to visit him because he is in an assisted living type facility, and he's 84, I believe. And so he was totally cut off, like so many seniors. No one could come and visit
Yes.
him. And
Yes.
he's used to my mom's sisters coming up there to visit him. So he was totally cut off. And so he was not happy. And so for months, he did not have any visits. All she could do was drop things off, leave them there at the front. So she told me 2 weeks ago, they created right off the parking lot, like you said, some type of space where they said that you can come up, and I think they stand on one side and you stand on another, but
Right.
you're still able to like kind of be there with them. They can see you
Yes.
physically, and
Yes.
you can actually talk to them in that space at whatever time you tell them you want to come up and see your family member. And so she said he was happy about that. And she was happy too. So I imagine lots of families are happy with that, I guess meeting in the middle, kind of, because lots of seniors were, from my understanding, depressed because
Yes.
they could not get out and
Yes.
were isolated. And maybe First L can talk about that and you can talk about that, but it's my understanding that they had lots of people that were withdrawing, and they were keeping the people in the rooms. You couldn't come out the rooms because you didn't want people interacting.
Right. They could not even go commune with the other directly. They didn't know a lot about this pandemic, this disease, this virus, this
Right.
killer. They didn't know a lot about it, so they just shut everything down. But Diana can attest to this. Social isolation is like smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. A day's worth of social isolation. So that's a big deal that you cut people off. That can't happen. Diana, you want to add to that?
I think that it's very important that we understand the mental status of older adults, in that oftentimes they are semi-isolated anyway.
Yes.
When they live alone,
Yes.
and their basic contact is the mobility that they have to get out, and most older adults operate on a schedule. On Monday, they do certain things, and
Yes.
generally on Monday, they do the same identical thing every Monday.
Right.
Do the same identical thing on Tuesday.
Yes.
They know it's Wednesday because it's time for them to go to the bakery. It's time for them to go and pick up their medication. They have
Yes.
they have a cycle of things that they do, which is considered to be their norm. Just like anyone, when you break a person's norm, it is very difficult for them to create new habits.
Yeah.
And in this particular period of COVID-19, we're all having to adjust and we're all having to create new habits. But what I really want to caution people about is communication. It's so important with your older adults to communicate with them so that they realize that the decision-making process that they're going through, that there's nothing wrong with them.
Right.
Number one, that we're all having to make adjustments and we're all having to do things differently.
Right.
And that
Right.
different in this instance is a good thing. It's a healthy decision. And in making those healthy decisions, they're making them so that they can save their life. It may not be a decision that we want to make, but it is in the best interest of the individual, as opposed to telling your older adult, you better do this, you have to do this, you can't do this. No, have a conversation with them as opposed to approaching them as though you're the mother or father. Approach them in a spirit of love and compassion and have a real conversation with them as opposed to approaching them and demanding that they do A, B, and C. And we know that oftentimes those conversations are out of our own fears as to
Yes.
what potentially could happen, as opposed to trying to do a little gentle nudging and a little recommending and doing it in love, setting some time where you say, okay, mom, let's have coffee together on the phone at 9 o'clock in the morning, because you know mom has coffee at 9 o'clock in the morning. Let's have lunch together over the phone. If mom doesn't want to use the computer and get on a Zoom, as opposed to you having lunch with your friends and being the chatty Cathy, have lunch with your mom. We have to become intentional about how we spend time with our older adults, letting them know that they have value, letting them know that they're important, and letting them know that they are not alone in COVID nor any other time. I think that we have to do a paradigm shift, Dr. Imani, on how we really treat older adults in this country.
I agree. I so agree. We've got to really, what's the word when you revere, I can't think of it, but
You have to
they,
give reverence to them
yes, thank you.
and
You have to
revere
give,
them.
yes, and revere them. That's exactly right. And we don't do a lot of that in this country, in Western society, right? That's just not part of our culture, although it has been part of Black folks' culture, right? Not I want to say like 2 generations back.
So my grandmother is me.
Right.
I'm a product of my grandmother. Even though my parents were right there in the home, my grandmother was the primary person for rearing most of myself and my first cousins.
Exactly. And
Of the family.
in our neighborhood when we were growing up, my mother was the only woman who stayed home. So our house became the extended house for the whole neighborhood's kids whose mom and dad had to work, right? And
Place, right?
Right. And so
some food in Miss Fanny's house.
that's right. So before you got home, if something happened, the whole street knew it. And people don't believe, my son just doesn't believe that, but that's what happened. Before I remember being I think it was like 5th grade, and I had gotten into a fight. My mom was pregnant. Before I finished the fight, I couldn't fight. So before I finished the whatever, she was on her way up there to get me because somebody had already ran like 5 or 6 blocks from school to say that this was happening. So it was a community. It was a community. So we as Black folks, we know that community culture. We know of it. And so I agree. We just need to get back to that and handle our folks with care.
Yes.
And
Mr. Ken, I think we'll add something and then we'll go to our next question.
Yeah, I just wanted to not forget. Yeah, my mother's like in a private senior complex. That's what I wanted to say, not a nursing home. Forgive me. And that's the things that they put in place. And we did that a while ago when she couldn't live in the house any longer. But I also wanted to say, and to add to what Dr. Williams had said about their routine, you know, because I noticed that a lot of times when I talk to my mom, you know, since the COVID had started and had began, you know, earlier of this year, my mother would forget, you know, what time of day or what day of week it was at times because they were so used to routine. You know, she used to tell me, oh, so-and-so is going to take my clothes to the cleaners. I got church on Sunday, you know, so they knew according to the routine. Oh, so-and-so going to the market because I'm getting my fish for Friday and da-da-da-da. So now that is none of those things taking place because a lot of places are closed down. These things are not happening. So-and-so is not going to Costco to pick up my tissue and all that stuff because things are scarce and, you know, people are just not getting out very often like they used to every week. 2 or 3 times a week, you got to go once a week. So the days of the week is not helpful anymore of keeping them to remember the time zone and what's happening. So when she repeats stuff back to me over and over again, I told my family, I said, just let her talk, you know, and if she needs to be reminded of something, just keep reminding it because it's just that, you know, the memory thing, the routine is not there. That used to be there that kept her on her toes and that kept her, you know, looking forward to whatever's happening next. You know, so I noticed that pattern when I talk to my mom now and she wants to repeat something to me again, or she want to ask me something over again. Well, what was that? And what is that? And what's going on here? And you just have to have more patience with your mature, sexy, you know, individuals that you deal with every day because sometimes, or your handsome individuals you deal with, because sometimes they just genuinely don't know. Because like they said, you twice a baby, you once a lady. And again, Kim, I wanted to piggyback what you said, Deacon Kim, because my mother, you know, sometimes call me, hey, mommy, how you doing? You know, so, you know, because they know that we are parents and we are ruling our kids and we are grandparents and they are transitioning back into that place of where I need your assistance more than I need to direct you because I did that already for you. So you should be prepared to handle whatever it is that I'm about to take my flight into or my transition into. So my mom calls me that at times, you know, and I respect her to respect that, not to belittle her into that zone of a kid because I'm afraid I'm going to get smacked from over here from New York as well. And I respect her out of that fear of she's going to drag me across the state lines to do it. But at the same time, you know, we honor our parents. And just like you all said, our parents raised us in community. And we honor that of our parents and we respect that out of love for them. So I just was sitting here listening and I'm smiling inside because I remember those days. And First Lady said she's being raised with her grandmother. And I remember those days. And Dr. Woody, I remember my mama coming to get us from off the block acting a fool. You know, with her house slippers on and her robe. Don't let me come out with my curlers on and stuff like that. I remember that. That was community. That was family, you know, and we had no shame in our game, you know. So it was what it was, you know, and we had that respect and our parents never embarrassed us. We knew it was loved, you know, we was loved. It wasn't embarrassment, it was loved for us. So I appreciate those stories. I do.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. I just, you know, I'm thinking about, I love what you said about embarrassment because it's so easy, us being human beings, it's so easy to fly off the handle and to say something that is that could be hurtful or embarrassing. I'm just, you know, going on my life with Fanny getting older. But my whole thing was if she knew better, she'd do better. If she could do it, she's not doing these things or saying these things to be obnoxious. You know, she was a kind of lady. So she's not doing these things to be obnoxious. If she could do better, she would do better. And so that was a great learning experience to, you know, I have the practicum, I have the book stuff, but I have Fanny for the real OJT, trust. Right. That to be respectful, to understand that, and what's happening is that I find myself asking things twice. Oh shoot, did I just say that? Oh, that's right. I already asked you that. Already. So if we live, we may also get to have someone be patient with us and
Yes.
respectful to us.
Yes. I think that's a great point. Keep living, and then you may need some of that same respect that you were supposed to give to somebody else. So I want to ask also, with the COVID-19 and all of the isolation, and you touched on it for a moment, where people, the older adults, I'll make sure I got that. The older adults are not able to, go out like they used to. A lot of them like the casino, can't really go to the casino. A lot of them like going to the little outlets, can't really go and be out there. And so you can't go to the restaurant with your girls, and you can't go to the senior center. And so many seniors were going to the senior centers for different
Centers.
programs they had. So the
Yes.
senior centers have closed down. So all of the outlets that they had, they don't have. And then the other outlet that most of them had was church. Okay. So now they can't go to church. Or if they do,
Right.
they sneaking because their kids are telling them don't go. So you can't go to church. So now what's the senior supposed to do, Dr. Woody? I mean, they like, okay, what are we supposed to do?
I know. It's virtual life, right? Like your virtual Christmas tree is virtual life. That's just what it is. There are a lot of organizations in Washington, D.C. There's Seabury has virtual travel, virtual bingo, virtual movie night. Uh, at Mary's house, we have a reach out and touch program where we call all the people who are part of our network, from our board to our volunteers, not active volunteers. We call everybody. We call them. We don't wait for you to call us so we can check up and see what's going on, to kind of get a feeling whether, oh, I've been in the house all day. I've been in the house for 2 weeks. I've been, to see what we can do. Maybe we send a food basket out there. Somebody, Dre and I have gone to a person's house and said, we're outside, and kind of wave, kind of like ELC stuff. You just take care of the people that are in your family. And I'm talking logical family and biological family, right? You just continue to do that. You have the movie night, you have the you have these activities, and you just have them online. The hard part is teaching older adults who are over a certain age, like trying to teach Fanny how to use Zoom. That wasn't happening.
And that's the real challenge there. So
Right.
many seniors now. I would say Minister Cat, Deacon Kim's mothers, I think they know how to use at least the FaceTime or Google Duo. But so many seniors don't know how to get on even the FaceTime on the cell
Right.
phone. They don't know how to talk about getting on the email or get on Zoom. They don't know how to get on Zoom. And so, how can we get, or what is being done to help to get these seniors on to the FaceTimes? Now, I heard about some of the nursing homes and rehabilitation centers, assisted living. The staff will bring an iPad to them if a family member calls, which I think is great. But what if the staff is busy because they got other stuff to do, and somebody's trying to talk to the grandma or the mom or great aunt at this time?
Let me give kudos to where kudos are due. Early on during the pandemic, as Mayor Muriel Bowser was hosting conversations with religious leaders and nonprofits from around the city. We were on a call with Dr. Imani Woody, was on that call, and she made just that recommendation, and the mayor took her up on it to make sure that seniors had access to devices by which they would be in contact and could do FaceTime and or would be able to learn how to do Zoom. And so I just want to say thank you, Dr. Woody, for being that advocate for those voiceless older adults who really, I'm sure, have been tremendously enlightened because they had those opportunities in a city, where else in rural communities we might know
Yes.
that may not be taking place.
Right.
In smaller communities that are not in a metropolitan area are not taking place. And so oftentimes we take things for granted. Many of us have 2 and 3 and 4 devices in our home. We don't have to have all of those devices. Spend some time with an older adult and teach them how to do that. We're in the process now. We got my one of my older sisters, who's going to be 75 next week. She is now able to do FaceTime with people.
Yay.
Got her to write
Yay.
phone. Now, my sister who is next to me, who is 72, she get on Zoom choir rehearsal at school. She do her Zoom prayers for
Right.
her church as one of the mothers of the church. I mean, she's technology savvy, but it took her 7-year-old grandchildren
Yes.
come stay with her from Nana, do this, Nana, do that, Nana, no,
Right.
Nana, do this,
Yes.
Nana, do that.
Yes. Yes.
So now she thinks she Miss Computer. She thinks that's her middle name.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Yes. Yes.
Dr. Abrams is doing. She wants to get on. And
That
Allison,
is amazing. I love those
I
stories.
Dr. Abrams, I keep saying Allison, y'all, you know that's my wife. But I just want to say, I want to commend Dr. Abrams, who Bishop has been able to get her entire older adult brigade and her family onto Zoom. And so sometimes it's 10, 12, 15 individuals on there on Tuesday night, and they have church.
Yes.
They catch up. We have to start thinking outside of the box.
We do.
That's what I wanted to say.
Yeah. And we just have to keep at it. I know,
Keep
Bishop,
at
it took you some time to do that. Because we don't learn, we learn differently. We all learn differently. And
Yeah.
then we learn the synapses are not, tell me 12 times and then I'll
Yeah.
get it on 13.
Our brain don't synapse
No
the same.
change to my game. Just,
Yeah, I think we have to have patience. That's the thing that I noticed when you talk about teaching older adults, make sure I'm getting this, about technology, because they did not grow up using technology. The 7-year-old babies, they grew up with technology. They don't know what it's like not to have a cell phone. And so, we have to have patience with those who never had a need to turn on a computer, never had a need to FaceTime or use the cell phone except for to answer hello and talk to the person, And so it was a challenge. Let me say, it was
Yes.
a challenge to explain to them, show them virtually, because I'm trying to talk to people. I'm calling them on the
Yes.
cell phone, hit this button, do this, that. So it was a challenge, but
Yes.
they managed to do it enough times to get on. And so, the seniors or the older adults, I just, I think it's important for people to understand, work with them to try to get them on with the family. I so appreciate, our leadership at our church. Most of them are on some type of family call. They get on Google Duo, they get on Zoom, they get on, what's the other one, Minister Cat? Marco Polo. They get on, these different platforms and talk with family members, but everybody's not doing that. So the people who are not doing that, their family members are isolated. And so, I encourage people to begin to do that so that the seniors or the older adults who, I'm gonna get that before the end of the night, who are, not able to get out and have that social exchange, they can get that now through the videos. Because that's
Yes.
the only way we can get it.
Yes.
I wanted to ask one question and get your recommendation. One of the things, as I've been reading in AARP and reading in various different medical and mental health magazines during this time, is mobility of senior citizens and not moving and motion. Many of them are becoming sedentary and sitting and watching TV and kind of talk about how a lot of those are symptoms of depression. And so we We really need to call our older adults and perhaps figure out a way while they're on the telephone with us. Okay, I need you to get up and walk.
That's an excellent idea.
Movement is so
So important.
Yes,
Yes.
so important. So can you kind of give some recommendations of how we may be able to gently nudge our older adults to get up and move, and just give a word of advice to them who may be watching tonight?
Well, you know, I think this is a group effort. I think the idea that you just said, call them, and while you're calling, saying, stand up, let's stretch, stand up, let's stretch together and count to 10 on a stretch, not knowing if you're on the phone, you can't see them doing, but you can act like you know they're doing just that. I don't know, really. I just think we just have to be consistent about calling. We just have to reach out, continue to reach out, try to broaden our network and outreach. I mean, you all are doing a great job over there, and it's going outside the state. And we're doing some stuff over here without, you know, with each one throwing that pebble in the pond, it ripples out. We're doing more and more. We just have to continue to do it. And I think this group is like preaching to the choir. You all are reaching out and
Yes.
being mindful of older adults. So
Yes. Well, we want to give Deacon Kim an opportunity to ask a last question, and then Minister Cat a last question.
Okay, Dr. Woody, you are affiliated with AARP, and I just want to know what's the
I'm a
advantage.
member of AARP, and I
Okay.
collaborate with them. That's
Okay.
the
Okay, I was just wondering what would be like the advantage of joining? I mean, what can you get out of it by joining AARP?
So you know what? I'm not going to be that commercial. I'm going to ask you to go
Yes,
to their
thank you.
website.
Okay.
Girl, you
I
can
thought
get
you
some
were
God,
like
you can get some
affiliate.
discount on tires.
Okay. Yeah.
I gave her that promotion, so let me take that back. I said she was one of the officers,
Oh,
so
No.
she
okay.
with them. So
Right.
No,
Yeah.
no.
But
I used
could
to
you?
work there, but yeah.
Okay. But could you repeat
And
that?
you work it.
Could you repeat that group? You said because I was wondering what kind of online fun is there for older adults now, because you said you mentioned some a name and I didn't really catch that name.
There is a, can I get to it now? There is a, I'm trying to go to my email, you all, and pull this up. And Bishop, I'll send this to you, and you can. And it's a newsletter for LGBTQ folks, older adults, and it's Seaberry. Seaberry does all this stuff for 5 days a week. You don't have to be gay to use it, right? You know, movie night is everybody's movie night. But sometimes it has a gay theme, right? Because we don't, as LGBTQ elders, that's the most invisible population there is. Elders are invisible, but then you drill down, LGBTQ elders are invisible, and you drill further down, then Black LGBTQ folks, and then tease out of that trans folks, right, are the most victimized. But I digress. So Seaberry is one of the newsletters. Iona does a lot of stuff. It's in Washington, D.C. too. It does a lot of stuff. And there is the Juanita C. something Foundation. Actually, I'm doing a talk with them. They are in Maryland. They do a lot of stuff for elders. So I'll send this information to Bishop, and she can pass it on if that's okay.
Okay. Yes, we'll disperse the information. Thank you so much. Mr. Cat, you have anything else you want to ask?
I just want to say, Kim, yeah, they told my car for a good price. You know, you get good tires on AARP. I don't want to be a spokesperson for AARP, but you are right, Dr. Monty. They start sending me invites ever since I hit 45, 46 years old, and I kept denying them. But I should have picked it up if I knew what I knew then that I know now. But they are great. So, you know, you may want to consider that, you know. So I get some good stuff. And then if you want a significant other, they can be a rider. You know what I'm saying? So they can get the benefits too. and they would love you for it even more. So I'm glad. Look. Go ahead, Bishop. That's what I'm talking about. You know, they can ride off of something with you.
Well, I guess
So,
I
hey,
would be the
that's a
rider.
good thing.
I guess I'm the rider.
Look. You might not have a black card, but you have an AARP card. All right. You know,
I got the new one.
So that's a good thing. But no, they offer a lot of services. You should read into it. I do recommend it. But I just would like to say, I don't have any questions. Dr. Imani, you did a magnificent job. I just like to say thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure. I love y'all.
For serving the underserved and for, you know, being that spokesperson and working so hard to make sure that, you know, our people of color, our people of age, our people of love and the underserved are getting what they need and what they so much deserve. And I too will be taking those steps up towards that ladder if God so see fit. And I just appreciate that we have people working so hard to allow us to be noticed, that we are growing old. We still have those sexual urges. We still have those needs. We still have those wants. We still desire to do things, and we still have our rights, and we still feel, you know, we do still want to feel in control of our lives, and we don't want it taken from us. And to know that we still too are human at the end of the day, even if we are aging, you know, and we are feeling loss of a lot of things, you know, even at this time. So thank you so much for reminding us and everyone out there in TV land, as they say, that you know, us getting older, we still matter in this process. So don't forget about your parents and your grandparents, your older aunties and uncles in this pandemic season.
Right.
And I have one last question. You know, when we look at, like you said, LGBT older adults, it's 57, I think I got it. So when we look at that bracket, how are those who are already isolated, those even before the pandemic were already isolated and probably separated to some degree, you know, how are they faring from your observation, or persons calling Mary's House or working with Mary's House? How are they faring in this pandemic? Specifically, the LGBT African-American older adults.
You know what? They're like the hardest hit. If we take it up from older adults and just say the working LGBTQ people, they're the hardest hit. They're usually the waiters, they're the salespeople, they're all the things that are closed, right? Or they are the housekeepers in the hospitals, and they've got to be there even though they don't get clapped like the nurses and doctors do. They still got to be there. Our postal people, all, you know, and those are the jobs usually Black people, brown people, indigenous people, and other people of color have, right? And so we've been hit. And when you talk about LGBTQ, SGL, same gender loving elders, they are scared for the most part, right? Before some of the things that we've talked about here, they're scared to go out. They're scared to stay in. They're scared to go to the doctor. They're scared to, you know, if something happens. There's a Dr. Nesbitt, a colleague who's head of, you all know Nesbitt, head of DHS, Department of Health. She is asking folks to stay home, right? She's asking folks to stay home. And when you ask folks to stay home, as we said earlier, they're more isolated. So people are going back into the closet. That's what I had lost that train. People are going back into the closet, right? And a lot of people weren't even coming out. They were waiting until they got older to come out. But since COVID, they go back in. They've gone back in, right? Because they might have to have a service. They might need food from Meals on Wheels. They're not trying to be gay and have somebody treat them unkindly, go to the doctor. You know, so folks it's kind of tough without education, without support, without advocates, and we don't have any of that acting in real time. We have it virtual, you know. I can't go with somebody to the doctor, so they'll have two people, right? I can't go in there. I can't do that. So, Bishop, it's been challenging. I'll say it like that.
Yeah, I just can only imagine. And I do remember coming to one of the AARP presentations that they did talk about when persons get older, oftentimes they go back in because of the treatment that they receive from other persons who are offering care. And so if we cannot provide, like you said, the advocate in these certain places where people are going or receiving services from, then yes, people are uncomfortable with being letting people know exactly who they are. And so that is unconscionable here in America today, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
I
And
agree.
you know, that's just, we should not be at that place today.
But we are
So
at that place and back. We're so glad that 45, because we were going really, going backwards. People are really like in the residential facility Minister Kat's mother is in. Is it culturally competent in terms of LGBTQ folks? Right. I remember doing some research and I reached out to the National Organization of Hospital and Long-Term Care Administrators. And I wanted to talk to some gay people. This is a national organization. I just wanted to talk to the gay people in gay residents in the DMV. I got one hospital administrator to call me back and say, surely if they want to, you can. The rest said, we don't have no gay people.
wow. Wow.
What?
Wow.
So I've done cultural competency training for a few of them, not a lot, but a few of them. Can you
Yeah.
imagine that?
Yeah. Yeah. 2020. Wow.
So, and when I went in there there was people in there that my gaydar was going off. I just knew they were gay, this big thing. I just, no. I could feel, don't talk to me. I mean, I didn't sleep with the person, but
And you just know that you know.
I knew, right? But she was looking like, please don't, So that meant that place was not safe for that person.
Right.
And any other person who looked like me that could pass.
Yeah. Oh, that's a whole nother conversation. The people.
That's another conversation. Hook that up, Bishop.
Yeah.
In closing, Dr. Imani, I did want to talk about that. We, in this season of COVID and being in isolation and shut down, that is another victimization zone. That is another avenue of violence. That is another avenue of bullying, particularly for our older adults. And we will be reaching out to you from the Empowerment Justice Center this month so that we can do some one-on-ones with you and many of your supporters of Mary's House, to let them know that they don't have to be bullied, to let them know that they are not victims, but to let them know that they are loved. You are our chosen organization to partner with during this holiday season so that we can let folks know that we are here to support them. We're here to love on them. We want to gift them a few items during this holiday season. And we want to wrap our love around you for all that you're doing in 2020 and in this COVID season.
Yes. I receive it. But great minds think alike. I was going to, well, this is offline. I was
what I was going to say, and you can always call on Minister Cat and myself. We can help some of them, get on Zoom and, figure out how to get on with their family members. We'd be glad to, talk them through the process.
Is that right? That's awesome.
Yes, I think it's important that we get people connected. People have to be connected. One of the things that I was experiencing, then we're going to get off. I know we're at that time. One of the things I was experiencing, and I hadn't turned 50 yet, but Deacon Kim, Minister Cat, Deacon Ronnie, Minister Eliana, Deacon Sylvester can all talk about this, Deacon Arlene too, and Deacon Manuel. I was having withdrawals. I was challenged because I was not getting that social stimulation from people that I'm accustomed to seeing, being around. And so, if I was feeling that, how many other people are experiencing that? And so I just kind of, I hate to say this, my wife is a psychologist. Y'all don't tell her I said this, but I think I was having like a meltdown. So
Yes.
I was like, oh my gosh, I got to see the people. And so that's why you know, heard me talk a lot about that. And so if I was missing the members and the leadership that I love so dearly and missing my family members, what else are the older adults experiencing? And not even just older adults, those who are
Just us.
watching older adults as well. And
Mhm.
so, you know, people need a little bit of training, a little bit of help to learn how to get on this and stay connected. And maybe that connection can help bring them out of that space of depression, help bring them out of that, you know, feeling that, you know, they've been swallowed up by this pandemic and any other things that they're experiencing. So I think, you know, we have to do a better job of trying to get people connected. And so we would definitely like to help Mary's House and anybody that you're connected with to try to help persons who are older adults get connected.
That sounds awesome. Well, Mary's House did a Zoom training this past something. I feel, I want to say last year. This year has just been so darn long for me. I mean, I feel like I've lived 2 years since March, right? But that would be awesome. We're putting together our first quarter schedule of webinars, etc. But there are people who I'm thinking of 2 people right now who said, I just can't get it. One is 80 and 2 are 80 and 79, and people have gone to their house and tried. They can't get it. But I think it can take 20 times till you get it. We just, you know, we just have to do that.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
In closing tonight, I just want to say thank you to ELC for having
Yes.
JC on tonight. And I want to thank my colleague, Dr. Woody. But I do want to say to those of you who live in multi-generational homes, let us be mindful of our older adults who are extremely vulnerable during this COVID season. Have a conversation with your young people. They're going out and about, doing their thing, wanting to come in the house and come home. We have lost so many of our elders.
Yes.
COVID, by not wanting to stop our young people from living. We can't put old wine in new wineskin. This is a new day. It's time to do something different. And we have to put a stop to those who are between 18 and 25, living at home, surface, what we call it, surface sleeping on your sofa, in your basement. If you have your older adult living in the house with them, they are at risk by their behavior. We're wondering, why is COVID getting in the home? Our young people are not necessarily wearing the mask, washing their hands, and social distancing. Protect the older adult in your environment. That is a means of violence, bullying, and many of them are fearful and are living in a room in your house and won't say anything because of the manner in which you allow young people to take over their space. If it's a shared space, let's make it a safe shared space.
Here, Diana. Oh my God, elder abuse is just popping up, but that's another topic altogether, and which this COVID is part of. Bishop.
All right, so I see we're going to bring y'all back on the talk again. So, but thank you so much. We so appreciate you, and we appreciate your expertise. And to everyone watching on tonight, I do want to remind you that on Sunday we are on at 11 a.m. Also, I want to remind you on December 20th, special Christmas program, we will see our young people still provide us a joyful Christmas celebration, preparing for the birth of our newborn king. So join us on December 20th. Join us on this Sunday, which is the third Sunday of Advent. And also we I believe we're at the end of the collections for the homeless items for winter. And so we will prepare to give those on next week. I believe it's on Monday or Tuesday. So any person that wants to give a last minute donation, you can do so at $ELC Church, $ELC Church. But I do believe we have gotten most of those items we need to service or to give to 125 individuals. So we are celebrating
Wow.
on tonight what you all have helped us to be able to do. So we will bring you on to live so that you can see when we drop those off. But we're so excited to be able to be a blessing to someone else in this season. And so happy holidays to all of you. And thank you so much for tuning in and joining us tonight. Don't forget to share this with somebody else, because I know a lot of us have older adult family members and neighbors and people who are at our churches. And so we do want to make sure that we have this information and we can help them stay connected as best as possible. God bless you. God keep you. And may God continue to smile upon each and every one of you.